Duncan and the Aeroplane. In the summertime, the sounds in the hills of Sodor are often interrupted by a strange buzzing noise.
Oh, there it is again.
It's just a plane, Duncan.
I know what it is, but why does it have to be there? It's drowning out the nice sounds of the railway.
Duncan always enjoyed his morning passenger ride. That is, the mornings when the airshow wasn't in town. Every year, around the middle of July, pilots and spectators alike would flock to Sodor for the annual air and stunt show. Most of the engines always enjoyed watching the planes and their breathtaking stunts. But Duncan didn't. He always thought that they were there just to annoy him. When he arrived at Lakeside, Peter Sam was waiting there with his return train. He was excited.
Duncan, did you see that blue plane? I was nervous. I thought it was going to hit the ground. But just at the last second...
Oh, I know. It pulled up, I missed it by a couple of feet. It happens every year. Almost every pilot does it. If they really want to make it exciting, they do something different.
Why can't you just enjoy the show, Duncan, instead of grumbling all the time?
It's all just noise and nothing more.
And before Peter Sam could reply, Duncan steamed crossly out of the station. Peter Sam was disappointed. He felt that all his excitement slipped away. That afternoon, Peter Sam met Reneas at Glenlock.
Then he said nothing exciting ever happens and that it's just noise.
Well, that's Duncan for you. Can't really make him like them, can you?
I know, but I just wish there was something we could do to get him to stop complaining about it.
Reneas thought for a moment.
Well, there could be one way.
And he explained his plan to Peter Sam, who found it very amusing.
I'll talk to the thing controller about it when I get back. It can take a bit of planning, though.
I can't wait to see the look on Duncan's face.
The next morning, the thin controller arrived early to the sheds. He walked over and whispered to Peter Sam and Reneas. Duncan was resting comfortably as the firelighter began work.
I spoke to one of the pilots and the manager of the show. They've agreed to do this plan of yours. I've also let Duncan's crew know. So Reneas, I'm going to swap you and Duncan's first trains this morning.
Yes, sir, and thank you.
The thin controller walked over to Duncan, who was still asleep.
Duncan?
Oh, good morning, sir. Is something wrong? My first train isn't due for an hour.
Well, slightly. Reneas is having trouble getting steam, so I need you to take his first train this morning.
Duncan's tired smile turned into an angry frown.
But, sir, it can't Peter Sam or Sir Handel go.
Peter Sam isn't ready yet since the handle is working at the quarry today. Currently, you're the only engine available.
Duncan groaned and hesitantly puffed away to collect Reneas' train. Peter Sam and Reneas just winked at each other as Duncan left. His journey was uneventful until he reached Glenlock. As the passengers were boarding, he realized something.
It's back to being quiet. That silly air show must have left already.
Unfortunately, it was so quiet, Duncan began to doze off. His driver noticed this.
We have the opportunity.
Then quickly hopped out of the cab and went along the train, letting the passengers know about the plan. Duncan was none the wiser. At last, they hopped back into the cab and Duncan began to wake up again.
Is it time to leave already?
Not quite. Rusty and the maintenance team are working on a bit just ahead. We're to wait here until it's clear.
Great. At least I can get a bit more sleep before we leave.
Duncan rolled his eyes and began to fall back asleep. That was till he heard a quiet buzzing.
Ugh. Why can't these planes just buzz up?
Before he could finish, there was a loud roar as a plane soared low over Duncan before lifting back into the sky.
What in the world?
He wasn't going to be able to fall back asleep now. His driver, fireman, guard, and the passengers all burst out laughing.
How's that for something exciting, Duncan?
Duncan couldn't say a word. He was still in shock. Eventually, he continued on his way. He was grateful none of the other engines had been around to see him. But that night, when he returned to the sheds, Reneus and Peter Sam were already there.
Hello, Duncan. How was your day?
Anything surprising happen?
How did you even hear about it? I was the only engine there.
Only engine? Yes.
Came a voice. It was the thin controller.
But far from the only one there.
He pulled something out of his pocket.
I thought you might want to see the newest postcard for the railway, Duncan.
He showed it to him. Duncan suddenly turned a deep shade of red. On the postcard was a photo of Duncan, very surprised, looking at the plane flying overhead, with "Welcome to the Skarloey Railway. It's all the buzz," written on the bottom. Reneus and Peter Sam burst out laughing, but Duncan thought they were being very silly indeed.